call the roll.
Yes, Alderman Bosley, Alderman Ortman,
Present.
Alderman Moore,
Here.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderman Cone,
Present.
Alderman Carter,
Present.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Present.
Chairman Conway, 6 present, we have a quorum.
Okay. I'm sorry first off that we were so delayed. We were next door. 204 then, let's just start with 204, it's right on top. And I'll just let you explain it.
Okay,
And
good morning. I'm Susan Kopensky, Airport Deputy Director of Finance and Administration. The airport is requesting your approval to transfer $13,727,769 from the Debt Service Stabilization Fund to the Airport Revenue Fund. In order to start the legislative process at the Airport Commission level, which we did, we had to receive approval in advance from the comptroller. This is according to the airport's bond indenture, and we did receive her approval. The purpose of this annual transfer is to help with rate mitigation to the airlines to meet the airport's 1.25 debt service coverage requirement. The same amount is transferred back to the Debt Service Stabilization Fund at the end of the year. So we come to you every year and ask for this according to our airport lease agreement. I'm happy to report that this is the 4th year that we've been asking you, and every single year, the same amount goes right back into the Debt Service Stabilization Fund. So the airlines or the airport, well, we wouldn't, it would be the airlines, have never had to put in any extra amount or anything. So I respectfully request your approval to transfer these funds.
okay, Alderman Orton.
No questions.
Moore, Alderman Moore, any questions? Just so let's go on the list here. Alderman Cone,
No questions.
Alderman Carter.
Just one quick question.
Well, there's all-
I'll have a quick answer.
So this is the exact, amount that's in there?
This is the
the
amount that
13 million
I'm
seven-
requesting to transfer.
Okay, so how much is in the debt service, stabilization fund?
Stabilization fund. Before this transfer, it's $34,164,501.
And every year we put 13 million, we put this amount in there?
From this fund, from the Debt Service Stabilization Fund, into the Airport Revenue Fund. But at
Okay.
the end of the year, it comes right back in there, and I have to request your approval again.
Okay, what would this 13 million be spent on? Or
It's
is it
not gonna be
just-
spent on
is it
anything,
just
it
debt?
just stays there, it's to meet our debt service requirement.
Okay,
But if, for any reason, any part of this is not available at the end of the year to transfer back because we did spend some of it on, O&M or something, the airlines have to make it up, and this same amount still has to go back into the debt service stabilization.
okay, so at what point would you spend any of this money?
We hopefully would never, we haven't so far. I don't anticipate that.
So what's the point of transferring?
Because to meet our debt service
Okay.
coverage. We
Okay.
will not meet our coverage. The airport can't meet its coverage anymore unless we do this.
Okay, no questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
is this like a surety bond or something?
No, it's not a surety bond. It's really just, we call it a rate mitigation. If we didn't do this, the airlines' rates and charges would increase by, oh my God, I don't even know. And this was part of our use agreement with them, because they are paying so much more now these days than they used to. So this just helps, and it helps the airport reach our debt service coverage. But it is not a bond of any kind. It's just a total transfer from one fund to another.
Thank you. Alderwoman Tyus.
No questions.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion that we pass.
So moved. Second.
Seconded. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Who was the one who did the second?
Shane.
Me.
Alderman Coleman. Sorry.
Alderman Bosley, Alderman Ortman,
Aye.
Alderman Moore, Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderman Carter,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Aye.
Chairman Conway. 6 aye votes do pass.
Okay, we'll take up Board Bill 205, and I'll let these guys talk about it.
I'm Robert Sullivan, I'm the Airports Properties Division Manager. We're respectfully requesting your approval of a new operating agreement with Concourse Communications Group LLC doing business as Boingo. It's to operate and maintain the current Wi-Fi system and add a distributed antenna system at the airport. The distributed antenna system will provide increased cell phone coverage and better download speeds for smartphones. The agreement provides revenue to the airport in two separate streams: a Wi-Fi minimum annual guarantee of $110,000 plus 30% of gross receipts, and a distributed antenna system fee of $20,000 per DAS carrier that signs onto the system, with a minimum of $40,000 per year. It maintains the free 20 minutes complimentary access for each user, and Boingo was selected by a selection committee from the city. We respectfully request your approval of this operating agreement.
I have two fast questions. One, is this a company that's already been operating there?
It is.
And do they meet the minority participation?
The minority participation goal was 5%. They don't have any ACDBE participation, which is how this is outlined. That's airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise. There's really no ACDBEs that are certified with the, and I can let Amber explain more. For the concession side, they met their good faith efforts. They're using MBE firms on the construction of the project, but they don't count those towards ACDBE participation.
And that stands for airport?
Airport concession
Concession.
disadvantaged business
That's the
enterprise
federal
program.
program because it's a concession.
No, I'm just trying, because I,
Right.
anyway, I'm gonna start going back to this real quick. Alderman Ortman,
After the free 20 minutes, how do they collect?
The free 20 minutes, your session will time out, and when it'll give you an opportunity to.
Credit card?
Yes, credit card, you just log back and log on with your credit card.
Okay.
Alderman Moore.
Did you say this is a tower we're putting in?
No, sir, it's a system of antennas that they're gonna install. They install a head end, what's called a head end room within the, complex, and then they have antennas built throughout the complex, they use that to go into the head end room, which then goes out to their system. It won't be a tower on top of the complex.
So it's not like, so there's no benefit in it. Who puts this in?
Boingo will install that, and really there's benefit for the airport, because our operational capabilities for the DAS system, we have cellular phones that we use, and any carrier, any passenger going through, if their carrier signs on, they'll experience.
So we own the
Increase
antennas.
They will own the antennas until the end of the agreement, and then we will own them after that.
So how long is the agreement?
The agreement it's 10 years from the completion of their build out.
Do we pay them for the usage?
No, they pay us,
They pay us?
yes.
Okay.
The $20,000 per DAS carrier that signs on.
$10,000 per what?
Per carrier that signs on,
Okay.
like AT&T or Verizon.
I thought you said per year.
No.
Okay, that's it.
Alderman Cohen, any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Carter, any questions?
Can you please explain the costs a little bit more? I know that you said that it costs $20,000 to install this, or $20,000 to purchase the
No, that's-
antenna.
That's like.
That's
if
for the
Sprint-
usage.
Sprint wants
Okay.
to, or-
So what was 40,000?
Okay, $40,000 is the minimum fee that that Boingo has promised us each year,
Okay.
but it's broken down to $20,000 per DAS carrier. So right now they're guaranteeing us that 2 DAS carriers will sign on. If we get a third DAS carrier to sign on to the system, or if they do, then it's $60,000.
Okay. All right. I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. And you said that they do have some MBE and DBE companies that they are working with to install.
They have MBE companies working on the installation.
Oh, okay. Okay. No further questions.
Do you
Aye.
do you have any problem with previous rule?
Yeah. Previous row. Can we get?
Okay, well, no, I still got to. No, I was just wondering if you have a problem with it.
No, I
Okay.
don't have no problem.
Okay, so,
I knew what
Unless
he
you're
said.
sharing.
I got it.
I was just asking, so Alderman Tyus,
Alderwoman.
Oh, sorry.
Got
I
that
did it
changed.
right the first time.
Okay.
Check the tape.
Fifty percent.
Yeah, I'm running ahead.
It was Alderman when I came down here, but I fought that from day one. Explain to me again why you didn't make the 5%, minority participation of the, was that the, vendors, is that what you said?
That's the ACDBE goals, and that's actually concessions that would participate in the gross receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Amber should,
Sure. When that goal was set.
why don't
at-
you explain the
Oh,
position,
shoot.
please?
Hi, Amber Gooding, I'm the director for the DBE program at Lambert St. Louis Airport in the city. The goal that was set on that at the time was set under a little bit different methodology. And so, once the RFP had gone out, the goal-setting methodology really does require to look at what opportunities are within a scope of work. And so when we review the good faith efforts, this is the type of business or opportunity, much like your cable and so forth. It's a big conglomerate, it's technology. There are really no subcontracting opportunities with this. So that's why we accepted the ACDBE participation that came back of 0%. I will tell you in my experience, I ran a similar program with Nashville Airport, worked very closely with my colleagues. This is very similar across the board with all airports. It's really, you can't really get any participation out of this kind of conglomerate. So the fact that they came back and were willing to use MBEs in the construction of it, I think showed their good faith effort to want to support the local community and our local diversity program. So we were pleased with that effort. A lot of companies still don't always do that. If they say, here's it on the federal and you accept it, that's all they want to do. But we felt like they did a good job with that.
Okay, so let me go back again.
Sure.
All right, so the concession you said did you say concession was sharing of profits, or concession was what? You said, so maybe you didn't say that, so you were going so fast. You talked about cable, let's go back to the cable. You
As an
said that-
example, yes.
Okay, as an example, so cable would be one of the places that you would have looked if there was a minority cable company that could have bid for the, subcontracting, is that what you're saying?
Possibly, yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
what else was included besides cable, for example? I wanna know what's included, cause I don't
Well,
understand.
and I use cable as a similar
Okay.
type business line,
Okay, so
not
there
that
was
there's cable.
But
within, right.
what would have been the opportunity for minority, participation? And this is why I wanna say this. For many, many years, I have asked these questions, and people always say what they can't find. And I always say, you got the wrong people looking then, okay? Cause I'm from the governor down, Carnahan used to be the governor, and I was the chair of black elected officials then. And he said, well, he didn't have black people working for him, and he said he couldn't find them. I said, fire those people you got, I'll work for you for free and I'll find people, okay? So what, specifically would have been opportunities?
Well, and that's why we're saying that in terms of the 0%, because there really aren't any, not just for minority companies, but other small companies in this particular line of field.
Like what, I wanna know, specific examples.
Well,
not-
it's a singular service.
Okay,
It
so
is,
it's
because-
just one thing, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
because it's technology, it's
Okay.
run from, and it's infrastructure that goes in. Again, another good example might be in terms of elevator service and things like that, where you have warranties, you have wiring, things like that. It
So-
doesn't lend itself to
So why do we set it
subcontracted
then
out.
in the first place? Cause it seems like it's misleading, okay? If you really don't have the opportunity, then to me, I would not like to see it set that way because it's misleading. It makes people think there's an opportunity.
And maybe I can answer this. You're absolutely right. And before Amber got here a little over a year ago, it was set at 5%.
I understand,
It was not done correctly. I'm just gonna tell you, it was
Okay.
not done correctly.
okay.
But the thing is that then the RFP was sent out. Amber came on board, and thank God we have her because she does know what she's doing.
Right.
And we realized that it should not have been 5%.
Okay, because, and what do we call a good faith effort? Since in this case, it couldn't have been.
Good faith effort involves a number of things. They need to demonstrate to us, and show us, what firms they've contacted, what efforts they've gone to doing that, looking for other possible creative ways, to find participation. In their case here, yeah, we can look at the directories across the US, the other, DBE firms, and I know that there's not that availability there. So their good faith effort largely hinged on the fact that what they did do was go out and get local firms firms, a couple of local firms, to do the construction. And it's still a pretty nice little piece. I'll be glad to forward the information on who the firms are. I was trying to see if I had it on my iPad. But,
And what kind of percentage would the construction be?
well, there's not a goal. See, because this is a federal, there's not a local,
I didn't say
goal.
it, I asked what kind,
Kind
would
of
it be, the
percentage.
ones
Oh,
that
the
they pay?
amount?
Mhm.
I
percent,
honestly
you know the
just don't
percent.
remember. I can see if I have it on my laptop or iPad here for you before we leave today. But I'll be glad to, forward that through you all.
And you said it's not a goal because it's a federal, is that what you said?
Well, there's not a goal set for the local participation in the RFP.
Because it's a federal
Because it's a
concession.
concession.
The other thing, just to go back a second and tell you on the good faith effort, is that this particular company worked very closely with Amber and her staff, and so that both of them could come together as a team and try to see what's out there and work together. And because they're a national firm at other airports, that helps a lot too, in looking at, so like Amber said, it came down to local,
Okay,
which is not a bad thing.
okay, and so then, like you said, so good faith is since there was absolutely no opportunity for them to go and do it in the construction, and to try to get construction, that's part of their good faith that you
Yeah,
can't.
that they came back, right, yes.
And can we in the future maybe not put those in there, when we absolutely, can we not put goals that we're not gonna be able to?
We have to have goals.
I'm talking about,
according-
even when we not, when we can't make it, like you put this 5% here, what's the whole point of saying we're gonna have a 5% if we absolutely cannot?
Well, we have to according to the federal program.
Right, there's still, we're required on the Fed program to
Yeah,
go through a
right.
goal-setting methodology. There are some concessions, and they've been brought before the committee, where the goal has been set as, the terminology is used as being race neutral, meaning it's a 0% goal. So we have that in there. The banking ATMs is a good example, so to speak. Now, we put that in there, but we still also set the expectation, the procurement language, that we still expect for them to try to. And we have had that.
Or
where
to come up
people-
with creative
To come
ways
up
to-
creative ways.
Okay,
And we've
so
actually
that
had
happens, you
people
still- okay.
come back with, exactly,
All right,
exactly. So we don't ever wanna turn down
okay, I take that
participation.
back, all right, now I get it, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question on page 11, talk about advertising, section 302 advertising.
Okay.
The operator has a non-exclusive right to sell advertising and sponsorship on the splash page.
Yes.
So they would let other people, I thought it's their splash page. So how would other people sell advertisement on their splash page?
Their splash page, they can advertise for vacations, whatever
Right.
they're gonna do. And it's like any other web page where you go, you click through, and they're paid on that click through,
Right,
and we get paid a percentage of that as far as our gross receipts.
so I'm trying to understand, so it's their page, but then if I bought something on their page, then I could then sell my spot and then they would get paid and I would get paid, is that what would happen?
Well, I guess
Like
you
if
would,
I had an advertising on their page.
Right.
And so I'm just trying to figure out how other people also get paid.
you would pay per the per unit cost of your advertising,
Right,
and they would monitor the click-throughs for the people to, and then they would take
a percentage?
a percentage
Okay.
of that.
Okay. Going to page 12, and I guess, this is about the facilities, so that they have to turn the facilities over. So what specific facilities are we're talking about turning over?
The facilities include one head-end room that I mentioned earlier. It's room on the on the ramp level of Concourse B, where they'll build all their head-end equipment and all the equipment for the DAS. It includes all the antennas that are installed for the DAS system, and it includes the I'm not sure what you call them, the Wi-Fi receptors
Okay.
for their wireless system.
So since, it's just like any other rental contract, if you install it, it's ours now at the end.
At the end of that term,
Right.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be antique by then, but.
I know.
Exactly.
Your phone's only good for like 2.5 years, and then it's like,
Maybe.
I know. I hate that. Okay, I don't know what the other question was. I had no further questions.
Okay,
Remember
then
when you used to keep phones?
I would
for
like to
20
entertain
years?
a motion, actually, I'll even make the motion that we pass Board Bill 205 out with a, do pass recommendation.
Second, previous roll.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, let's move on to Board Bill 206. And I'm just gonna open it up to you guys, and I know a couple guys gotta leave, if we can keep it slowly condensed, I would appreciate it.
We're requesting your approval for a lease agreement with Union Electric Company, GBA, Ameren, Missouri. The term of the agreement is 10 years. It's for 2 substations at the airport, which I'd be happy to point out on the map if any of the aldermen or alderwomen have any questions. Lessee pays an annual rent of $2,258.13, which escalates to the agreement. We respectfully request your approval of this lease agreement.
So, Alderman Ortman, any questions?
In the agreement, are we doing anything about like solar energy?
And not as part of this agreement, no. This is a lease of their substations.
Okay, this is just the substation only.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Moore.
I'll pass for that.
Okay. Alderman Cone?
A little bit over.
Well, I messed up on Alderman.
And look, I thank you so much, more handsome, just so much you
A little
can know
taller.
that. Well, I wasn't even gonna get into that, cause I don't want him to say I was doing short views, okay?
So this is something they already have in place, and we're just extending it for another 10 years.
They've had in place in a series of 3-year agreements. Yes, sir, we're replacing it with a 10-year agreement.
How long have they been there then?
I couldn't, I don't know, going back.
And we've
sir.
just been doing it, but we've been doing it in 3-year increments.
We've been doing it in 3-year increments, and we just decided to go with the 10-year increment.
Okay, so have there been increases in the rates over those 3-year increments?
Yes,
Are those going to be realized?
those are still realized, yes, sir.
Okay, alright,
Just so anything under 3 years doesn't come in front of the Board of Aldermen, it just gets passed by the
right,
commission.
no, I get
So
that.
that's
but
why this is
I
here.
just wanna
because
make
it's,
sure that we're realizing the increases in rent that we otherwise
Oh,
would
yeah.
have over that time period. Okay, great.
Alderwoman.
Thank you so much. I had a question here about, they addressed something about environmental and, where did I just had that? Their agreement not to. This, how would, I guess my question is, how would Ameren have any kind of environmental concern, I guess, is what it is.
One of my work.
They were up.
Environmental is Article 8.
Yeah, 19, right, bottom 19E, I do mark. It says, if leasing fails to comply with any, environmental law or environmental permits. So what, pray tell, could that be?
It's anything that might come during the term of this agreement, any EPA laws, anything where anybody steps in and says this has to be corrected, this protects us.
But well, I guess my question is, does Ameren have hazardous materials or contaminants
You know, I think
at the
it's,
airport?
within those substations, you know, I think that the definition of what could be a hazardous material is so wide, and I'm not sure exactly of everything that's in those substations.
They don't have to tell you that what's in there, like they wouldn't have to,
They would have to tell our environmental staff what's in there, and our environmental staff would monitor it all.
so at this point, then could we conclude that they don't, if they haven't told you guys anything?
Well, I would have to check with our environmental staff and see what records they have on file with Ameren.
He said he would have to check.
Yes.
He didn't say yes or no. Okay, I wasn't trying to trick him. It's not a tricky question, okay? I was just trying to figure out if we had environmental problems out there that we didn't know about. But they do have to, they're supposed to tell you, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Hearing no other questions, I would ask we pass Board Bill 206 out with the pass recommendation.
Second?
Any call
Previous
for
roll.
previous roll? Yes, call for previous roll. And if you gotta go. I just have a real quick, before we go, I would like to set something up. I know that when I was there, I was a little bit more familiar with the DBA program.
DBE.
I mean, well, yes, disadvantage. And if you had that up, I'd like to set a meeting up with the caucus, but not only just with the caucus, but any members, including myself, who wanna get myself more familiar and more updated, because it doesn't only affect stuff here, but any company that's trying to get minority participation, it has to be approved through them.
Okay, now remember, the DBE is the federal program,
I would-
there's federal dollars in concession, and then the MWBE
Which
is
I
for
would,
everything else.
which I would like to have something with both.
Okay,
And I'm not the actual chair, but I'm just saying I would like to see that.
okay, then I guess what, through the chair, you can
Through the
contact
chair,
me?
she could set up a meeting,
Or do you want me to contact,
I don't even have a problem, if Alderman Tyus is fine with that, we could set it up through here, because it would be an informal meeting. We wouldn't be doing like a board meeting, but just a way that we can learn a little bit more,
well,
maybe
yeah,
have you
if
in
you wanna-
after a board
sure.
meeting or something like that, just so we can get a
you
better
just tell
understanding.
us what's convenient, and we'll make sure we're here, and we'll do that.
Okay, I think I just set up, other than that, if nobody has anything else, thank you, sorry